Hey everybody, welcome back to Nerd News Today. I'm Matthew, and today we're going to be taking a look at a figure that I've been kind of collecting on the sly and not sharing with you guys, but I think it's about time that changes. On this channel, we cover a ton of products from Diamond, Select, and Gentle Giant. They are essentially one and the same at this point. But yeah, we've looked at a lot of their stuff, whether it be action figures, statues, minifigures, whatever it might be. But one of the signature things from Gentle Giant has been their jumbo action figures. So I'm talking about something like this right here. This enormous box here holds a classic Kenner-style Darth Vader action figure, except that it's been blown up from 3 3/4 inches to now be 12 inches, hence the jumbo. This piece right here is actually a Ralph McQuarrie concept design Darth Vader figure. It's really cool. I love the packaging. It's awesome. And yeah, these figures are a ton of fun, and they're one of the coolest things out there. They definitely rank high on my list of favorites of all time. So yeah, I've kind of been collecting a few of them here and there on the sly, just more for me. But today that's going to change with Gentle Giant and Diamond to have a brand new jumbo figure lineup, and that's one that I think you're going to really be into. And that brand new line is none other than Indiana Jones. Indy's having a bit of a renaissance right now across the board, whether it be Hasbro doing their action figures, or right now with Diamond Select doing some PVC and some resin statues, and Gentle Giant doing their own jumbo figures. And of course the line has to begin with Indy himself. So what we're looking at today is in fact an NYCC 2023 exclusive version of the Indy that's currently out there. So right now you can just order the 12-inch Indiana Jones figure by itself, but if you got the NYCC exclusive, you're getting the Map Room Special. This quote-unquote adventure set features that 12-inch figure as well as some of his signature accessories that you're going to be getting in that other version, as well as some other items that are going to be exclusive only to this set. We're going to get all into that in a few minutes here, but first things first, let's talk about this packaging here. And unlike the Star Wars figure that I just showed you guys, this one is going to be coming in this box here. Now, I believe the Indy figures themselves will be in that same kind of classic blister style packaging, which is in fact collector friendly if you're wondering, so don't worry too much about that. But as for this larger diorama adventure set here, this is actually going to be in this big old yellow box here, which is actually pretty cool, and it's kind of a retro throwback in a lot of ways too. Back in the days when these toys didn't really rely on windows and that sort of thing, it was just basically a box and maybe a few photos or some artwork on the front. Now in this case, we do have a great big image of Indy here, as well as a lot of the accessories he's going to be coming with in this packaging. And it's just got that real cool classic Indiana Jones logo from the old toys. What's also kind of fun is that on the side of the packaging here, they show the toy actually being in use as if it's like on an advertisement. Like, check out Indy using his little telescope thing, or check out Indy using the actual diorama playset parts. It's actually a really fun little throwback, and I really appreciate that attention to detail. Now, luckily for me, the back of the box and the front of the box are pretty much almost entirely identical, so I don't really need to talk a ton about it here. But again, I think the packaging is really sweet looking, and yeah, it's going to be really great if you're a mint on card collector, or in this case, mint in box, but I'm not, and really with this especially, I want to get this one out of the packaging because look at all the cool accessories it has. I can't wait to show them off to you guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead, whip our Indy out of this packaging, and take a closer look at him from all angles. Alright, so we have our enormous Adventures of Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark Map Room Adventure Set box. It is very big. It doesn't even fit completely on camera here the way I have this currently set up. But just one more time, a nice closer look at the packaging here. Just really nice, great designs. Kind of a throwback to some of the toys of old. Front or back, doesn't matter, it's the exact same thing. So let's go ahead and let's do the proper unboxing here. I've already cut a hole in the side of this guy, so let us see what this all looks like when we take it out. Here we go. This is a grand unveiling. And there he is. Wow. All right. This is like I knew I was getting a 12-inch figure here. It's just really cool actually seeing it in the flesh for the first time here. This thing looks really cool. Let's see. It's probably better if I do it this way, but obviously we'll spend some more time in detail showing him off. But man, a lot of stuff in this box here, a lot of great looking accessories. The figure itself looks like a knockout. So I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling some pieces out, and let's start talking about them. So let's start first with our Indiana Jones figure himself. This is 12 inches of Indy. How cool is that? This thing looks great. Real throwback to the original figures of Indiana Jones, right down to the bizarre knee joints. We'll get into all that in a little bit, but let's start first by talking about the likeness here on our Dr. Jones. Does this look like, well, okay, well, it doesn't look like Harrison Ford because obviously it was barely meant to look like him back in the day, but it does very much look like that OG figure of Indiana Jones. I mean, it pretty much is the exact same thing, just blown up to a way bigger size. You've got the great looking fedora, the paint detail is all there and nice. You know, it's funny because this really does look absolutely nothing like Harrison Ford, but that's, to be fair, exactly the way this toy looked if you bought this thing when it first came out. So all the details are there, just on a larger scale. I mean, check this out. Even on the back of him, you're getting like his original watermark information there, like the actual original makers, the year this came out. So like they're really making sure that every little bit of detail is in this piece here, whether that's front, back, minute, whatever it is, it's there. So as far as like the portrait of Indy goes, this isn't going to win any lookalike competitions here, but it does look exactly like the toy, and that's what it's meant to do. Let's also talk about this jacket a little bit more too, since I already showed you guys the back, but here's a little bit more time on the front of this figure as well. Just again, same kind of detail. You know, you're not going to find a lot of texture in this toy because that's not what they did with it back in the day. But all those nooks and crannies that you got with that original figure are still here, like the pockets on the side, the buttons, another pocket, and that's really honestly it. You know, because again, these aren't like super detailed figures, and these were a lot smaller back when they first came out. And as we move down, we'll show you got the belt over here, as well as his holster for his pistol, and we got this section over here, which we'll come back to a little bit later on. But yeah, and now we got, of course, the signature knee joints and those bizarre legs. So let's actually talk about articulation a little bit, since I've already got Indy here in hand. And his mobility is a few steps above 5 points of articulation, really because he literally has like 2 more points than everybody else. But otherwise, it's really the same you would have gotten back in the day with most of your retro figures. So our head can turn left and right. It is not ball jointed. It's not meant to come off. Mine looks to be a little bit loose, oddly enough. Huh, that's just kind of a funny little thing there. But yeah, head just moves left and right. Our arms, very stiff. That's a plasticky kind of stiff, not just like stiff out the box from paint, but that's just straight up plastic. But our arms can move up and down, no ball joint or anything like that, because this is a classic style figure. The waist does not turn at all. Wrist doesn't turn either, of course. What we do get is pretty good amount of leg mobility. Now this is where it's kind of funny, because this figure is kind of like the Star Trek Playmates line, in that the legs just didn't go straight up and down, especially in the beginning, although later on Playmates figures did. But instead, R&D is like this. So he can like get into his stance for football, I guess. I don't really know, but yeah, this is what our Indiana Jones's legs do. They're just kind of this like V position, which is so bizarre and so unusual. Like, how many other figures did that? I mean, there were some, but for the most part, everybody just wanted straight up and down legs. These can do this. I don't know why. And in addition to that, we do have knee joints that can bend. So your Indiana Jones can take a good squat. Like, yeah, okay, this figure really is just made for football. Let's be honest here. Like, he's ready to catch and then just start running and go into QB position. Throw the football. There you go. Yeah, so again, this is exactly the way it would have been when you got this figure back in the 80s. Crazy, wonky articulation and all. So otherwise, though, I mean, it actually does look good, because you want it to look like that retro style. So it's hitting all the marks here in every way possible, and that's for better or for worse. So let's go ahead and move on and take a look at some of Indy's accessories. So let's start by taking a look at our staff first. And interesting about this piece too is, in case you're curious, you can just pop the head off, and now you've literally just got a plain old staff, which is nothing more than just a plastic cylinder. But whenever you're ready to actually do some real sleuthing, you slide it back on into there and you've got your staff ready to go. Now let's take a closer look at some of the details on this as well. It looks very nicely sculpted, real retro kind of feel to it. Looks nice. And this part is really cool. Looks like it actually could cast a little red shadow if you were to actually light it up a little bit. So the staff is an excellent looking accessory, and cannot wait to see it in the hands of our figure. We also have the signature Indiana Jones shoulder bag. You can see right here. Nice sculpting on it. Some cute little details as well for the handles and the different latches. The back of it, though, is kind of fun because it is a toy, so it doesn't really have any additional details right there in the back. It's kind of just open-ended, but that's kind of fine for what this toy is and what it's meant to resemble. Now, on the smaller side of accessories, we have Indy's notebook, which you can see right here. Again, a hollow accessory, nothing in there, but still a great size, great look, simple. It's kind of fun too if you want to be, one of the folks who is out there customizing things. This is a great little accessory for customizing. Nice size book, which will be great also for like other things, other like tabletop games, things like that. But there is Indy's notebook. We've also got a pickaxe and a revolver, both of which, again, really nice details. I mean, the pickaxe, to be fair, is the most exciting accessory, but it's a pickaxe. It's exactly what you want it to look like. It's very smooth all around, one piece of plastic. The revolver is definitely the more exciting of these right here, and it's always cool to have firearms with your toys, especially from that era. But yeah, this is a classic revolver. Good sculpted detail there. I like the handle especially. just your classic weapon for an Indiana Jones character. Over here we have our grappling hook with a lot of string. I'm not going to unravel this whole thing here, but this big mess of yarn right here, this is meant to be our string. It's a pretty long rope, which means you can get some good length on it. Not like you're going to really need it, but yeah, it's there. And this hook, very nice as well. You know, not really much I can say about it other than that it exists, and it is most definitely a grappling hook. And then the last of the small accessories, this one here kind of confused me at first, but this is meant to be Indy's whip, I believe. It's very long. You guys can see, I mean, this thing is extremely long. It feels almost weird to have it like this, but yeah, I guess this is going to be his whip, more or less. So there it is. At first I thought it was like a piece for a phone or something else maybe, but no, this is the whip, and this part here is actually meant, I believe, to just kind of slip into Indy's hand one way or another. Let's see, I don't know if it's meant to be this hand or that hand. Looks like it fits better in this hand here. And so, yeah, you can basically have him holding the whip like this. It's a little bit weird, but I guess that's how they do it. Yeah, all right, so Indy's got his whip. So now we move on to the last two accessories here, and these are the biggest accessories. We have our 3D map right over here, and then this is the transit with tripod is what they're describing it as. So this is a sort of construction piece, and this is the 3D map. This is actually what I was most curious about, and it's really cool. This thing looks great. And just so you guys can also see, I want to show you how it looks with our Indiana Jones figure. So pretty much he is about 12 inches tall, and this map is similar height, and this one not quite as tall, but still pretty close, which makes sense. So proportionately, I'd say everything is pretty much close to how it should be. So let's just take a moment now to get some closer looks at these two final parts. Starting with this map over here, this three-dimensional map. So again, just lots of really cool details, great decals as well. Very simple, but they work. And really that's kind of like the whole idea. Again, keep in mind, this is meant to be a retro style. So everything is going to be a lot more simplistic and not rendered with a ton of detail, but that's kind of the charm of pieces like this. Although when there is detail, it's there and it's very nice. I mean, you've got like this little temple hiding over here, and it might be a little bit hard to see on camera, but there actually is like a brick pattern that's on these parts here. You can see a little bit of it right there, and it's also on the edges of this. So nice little additional piece of texture, because otherwise all the buildings are very smooth. They're very smooth, but they have lots of like raised textures and beveled edges here and there, some like pointy pyramid textures. It is actually a lot of fun to hold and touch, to be completely honest, and the brick pattern that's on the sides of the buildings especially is very nice. You've also got some sort of like makeshift hieroglyphics-like feel to these parts over here towards the front of this. And just tons of little pyramids and obelisks and round cylindrical bits to kind of touch and feel. It's actually a lot of fun, and it just looks really great. Like this does. This is really kind of the piece that I was most excited for, you know, like when I got this figure. Because the figure is cool, but something about this and the versatility of being able to use this with other displays as well, other figures, that really kind of drew me in. So this part here does not disappoint. It's very cool, a lot of fun to hold, and definitely going to be a lot of fun to use as part of your display with this figure. And then the final part here, the transit with the tripod. Again, another really cool piece. I just love this retro vibe about everything here. You know, how it's very simple, you know, very basic kind of sculpting all across the board. There's no wooden texture in this tripod. There's no real metal texture or anything to kind of make it feel different. It all is very much a uniform feel. It's more so about the geometric shapes. That's what you're going to be feeling and looking at when you see something that's done in this real old-fashioned kind of sculpting. And in case you're wondering, no, this does not rotate. None of these rotate. This is all flat, essentially glued onto here, it feels like. So you're not going to get any mobility with any of this stuff here, but that's just how it goes. All right, so let's see if we can get some accessories on our Indiana Jones, because I'm actually a little curious to see if he can hold all the things that he comes with. So we'll go ahead, we'll start with the revolver that he has. And he doesn't really have a trigger finger like modern toys will with most of their stuff, but I think he should be able to just get it into one of these hands. So I've got it in his left hand, and you guys can see how that looks. You know, it is kind of funny because he basically just has like mittens for hands. So, you know, this is how they used to do it back in the day. None of this trigger finger stuff. The toys that we collect today in modern times really spoil us from what the past was like. Let's go ahead and try also his shoulder bag. So this is going to be interesting because this is a pretty hard piece of plastic. So I think it's literally just going to go around his shoulder, and that's going to be pretty much the best he can do with it. Yeah, that's going to be really it for him. It's just going to sit there. I am curious to try out the book. I don't think it's going to really easily go in any of his hands, but maybe I'll be wrong on that. We'll go ahead and pop the gun out. Maybe it could fit in this hand. Maybe, sort of. Not not easily, no. So book does not fit in either hand, so that just kind of goes somewhere else. The grappling hook over here, as well as the whip, I'm pretty sure that is meant to kind of hook onto this little latch that's down here, so I'm just going to easily slide that. Oh yeah, it's like a perfect fit, and there you go. So that grappling hook is now on his leg. That's good to go. And I think likewise that pickaxe is going to be a fairly simple accessory as well for him to hold. Probably in the same hand as he had the other stuff, maybe both. Let's hope he can get it in both, or at least the other. But yeah, I mean, it looks like without too much difficulty, you can get it in his right hand, and I think the left hand, yeah, left hand's a lot easier. Or maybe I spoke too soon. It's not really staying in place. Unless you like do it like this, but it's very, very much loose, and as soon as you start doing anything with it, it'll plop out. So, you know, accessories are there. They're good to have. Some are definitely better than others. And in case you were wondering, because I know I am, the revolver does go into his holster there on his leg. So that's useful as well. So you can get at least some of his accessories on him. That's pretty good. I'm also going to just plop this guy right next to him. I think that's fine where it is. And as for our 3D map, there it is one more time. And we have one last accessory, and that's going back to our staff, which according to the package will be held in this hand fairly loosely because none of those hands are tight enough to actually hold it in place. So I think what I will do is just raise this arm up a little bit more, and goodbye accessories. Let's just see if we can get it into his hand in a more stable position perhaps. I think this is going to be about as good as it gets for Dr. Jones. There we go. So that's how our Dr. Jones is going to look holding the staff along with that tripod, that piece of equipment. And he's looking pretty good here. I like how this looks a lot. You know, if you grew up with those classic Indiana Jones figures, this is pretty cool to actually have them in this size and in this style. And frankly, I don't think you can go too wrong with these. And in case you're wondering, yes, the staff, in fact, actually does go right on into that 3D map. You can go ahead and take it out, put it into any of these different holes that are present. But yeah, you know the right slot to put it in, and there you guys go. So that's going to be our look at the Adventures of Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark Map Room Adventure Set. This debuted at New York Comic Con, but I believe is still readily available, whether through Diamond's website or other online retailers, as well as your local comic book stores. And I gotta tell you guys, you know, I love the 12-inch figures, and it's really cool that they're now diversifying into a different franchise. They've done so much with Star Wars. Now they're basically starting to do their own like retro-inspired figures, which is also really cool. But there's so many other things out there that they could be doing, and it's great that they're finally getting something like Indiana Jones. It's a toy franchise that really hasn't gotten a lot of love. It wasn't a very long-lasting one, but it's still a pretty cool retro series. And in particular, I think this is like the perfect set. Because yes, there is an Indiana Jones figure only, like just a solo figure, but for my money, literally in this case, this I think is the best purchase you can make just because of the sheer number of accessories that you're getting with this Indy. And this is going to be the only way you get the majority of these accessories. I believe that only the revolver and the whip come with the normal release. Like maybe the shoulder bag does. I don't think it does though, but for sure this is the only way to get the staff, to get the tripod, to get the 3D map, to get the pickaxe. The grappling hook I don't think comes with the other things as well, and neither does the book. So to get all the accessories to really have a very cool and complete diorama, this is the way to do it. And I think this is it. You're gonna really like how this thing looks in your collection. It's gonna really be standing out in a kind of a fun way too, because retro figures always look good, but retro figures upscaled are even better. So this is the way to do it. Now, if you want to pick up this Indiana Jones Gentle Giant Jumbo Figure Map Room Adventure Set, go ahead and check out some of my affiliate links in the description of this video below. If you click on any of those links to make any purchases, whether it's this toy or something else, it helps out this YouTube channel at no extra cost to you. So please, thank you for doing that. So until next time, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.